Hello, everybody. How you doing? I hope you're having a lovely afternoon. I am. Welcome to the Real Talk, and today we shall be discussing social media and teenage pregnancy. How are these two connected? Are they connected? And joining us, we have media personality Lina Zulu, aka DJ Lindsay from Radio 4. I'm sure a lot of you that tune into Radio 4 get to listen to her nice but small voice. And we are also having Christabel Hanonga, project coordinator at CTYA and an expert in youth development and reproductive health. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I hope I won't be in trouble for saying nice but little voice.
I'm used to being bullied like
Yeah.
that by you, so it's so good.
Yeah, so we're looking at this subject today, social media and teenage pregnancies. So before we go into that, there's just some clips that we're going to share and just to get the perspective of a lot of young people from some institutions. So yeah, we can carry and take it off after we see that clip.
Hey guys, welcome to the Root Talk brought to you by TYP. I'm your host, Malungu Mwanga. On today's topic, we're going to look at the aspect of teenage pregnancies. How is teenage pregnancy related to social media? So today we are moving in the streets of Living on Awasa Medical University, asking our students what they think is the link between teenage pregnancy and social media.
Yes, I believe there is a very strong connection between teenage pregnancies and social media and any media platform.
To me, I would love to believe that there is a connection.
Because if you look at most of the teenagers, they're being influenced by the lifestyle that they see on social media. As a result, they want to acquire that lifestyle they see on social media, and in doing that, they end up having boyfriends or having men who give them money.
Sugar daddy.
Yeah, sugar daddy.
Yeah.
As a result, they end up being pregnant or having unwanted pregnancy.
It's one of the reasons, of course. I mean, everyone's on social media now, and it has this very big influence on people's lifestyle.
Yeah.
No one is going to learn how to hang up or hook up with another guy from their parents at home, rather on social media.
I feel at the time that we're in, everyone's looking for the it, who's doing the biggest thing, who's looking cool, who's looking rich, who's living the best life. So you find we have an advantage of where it's a disadvantage, in fact, where people feel, okay, if that girl is still living a good life and she's pregnant, it may not be a legitimate child, it may be with an older man, it may be with a younger man, but she's still looking good, living the best life. I can also try to do the same things.
When you talk of media in general, you're talking about a lot of things. We're talking about movies, we're talking about music, and the impact that it's having to these teenagers who are consuming this. Nowadays, a lot of movies or the culture that is portrayed in these movies will, give an encouragement to these teenagers watching them to say having sex at an age that you're not ready, you don't understand it, you don't understand the measures you can take to protect it is okay, and it's part of the culture. So you find that these teenagers are very curious at that age, as we should all know, at that adolescent age. And yes, they would go and engage in these acts together with their fellow teenagers who also are none the wiser, and hence why we're having a lot of teenage pregnancies. So to me, I would like to think there is a connection.
My opinion on social media and teenage pregnancy is that I think they are connected because social media exposes teenagers to explicit content. For example, we have videos like pornography. When teenagers see pornography on the internet, obviously they want to try it and they won't use a condom since pornography happens with no condoms. And the other thing is that social media exposes teenagers to unrealistic images on parenthood and relationships. For example, they see a parent on social media making it seem as though parenthood is easy.
The imitating youths, what we've seen is youths nowadays, they imitate others. You see someone is fully dressed in expensive clothes, of which your parents cannot afford. So that's why it's connected to social media and teenage pregnancies, because you might see a sugar daddy or a benten in a certain lodge, and then you would imitate to say, maybe I should link up with my friends, not knowing from that background where they're coming from. If they're fully educated, they're above the age of which they can start doing something.
Teenage pregnancy is related to social media, or social media is related to teenage pregnancy, in an instance where youths of nowadays, let's take for instance in Zambia, almost 75% or over 75% of the youths in Zambia have got smartphones. What does that imply? It implies that these youths have access to social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just to mention a few. Then, on these social media platforms, you find different information, those that are good and bad. And in relation to teenage pregnancy, you find that in most cases, the information that you find there is that it is encouraging youths to indulge themselves in sexual activities that leads to teenage pregnancy. So you find that it's not selective. Social media is not selective on which type of information that they're going to display. So you find that there's this child with a smartphone, so naive, and they have got influence from friends to check out these different dating sites.
Welcome back, everybody. It's good to hear so many young people adding voices to what they see wrong in a world where it's more like everything is internet based, everything is online, the good, the bad. So I'm going to start with you, Lena. Adding to whatever has been said on the videos, what are your thoughts? How has social media really influenced the perspective on relationships, be it sexuality, be it parenthood, on most of the teenagers out there? And also, it's not just teenagers, but a lot of people as well. What are your thoughts on that?
I must say I agree. I agree to a very large extent with the views from the students there and everyone that spoke about it. Absolutely. Social media now kind of shapes the way people behave with each other. We are living in an era where people are saying Lusaka is not for dating, it's for business. And you know what that implies. Young people are always nursing heartbreaks because they meet each other on social media. It's all rosy when you're behind the keyboard. And then when you meet each other, it's not the way you thought it would be. We've also now come into an era where you search for stuff that was back in the days a privilege of those that are in, relationships like marriage. But now you go on social media, you go on TikTok, you go on Facebook, on whatever social media platform you're on, and this information or these videos are all over, which means my niece, who is 16 years old or is 17 and is just getting into, being introduced to sexual reproductive, will go on this information first from social media before she's to me. So there's that danger. So I absolutely agree. Like, to some extent, social media has, for lack of a better word, like thrown the teenagers to the deep end. And hence we are here now recording very high numbers of teenage pregnancies.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'll pose the same question to you, Christabel. With your experience as well, being an expert in youth development and reproductive health. So I'll ask you to also touch on your thoughts with what I just asked Lena, to do with the perception of social media and everything else and its impact on young people. And also, I will link it with safe sex practices. You know, we hear the importance about safe sex practices, behavior and condom use. I think we are in that era where I think a lot of young people have taken this notion to say if you try to protect yourself, it's not really cool. I mean,
Right.
you sort of like need to live a life where you're always on the edge. It's so cool. It's lit. You only live once and things like that. What are your thoughts on something like
Okay, so first of all, I would like to agree with all the comments from the students. I was almost saying we don't need to have this program because everything has been said. Um, yeah, everything has been said. I think they touched all the aspects about parenting. First of
that?
all, the parenting of nowadays is totally different from before. Yeah, before we had parents that had time to sit us down, to correct us. But now I think we are the busy parents. We are never there for our children. We can't even talk to them. So instead, social media has become their second parent. They
Yeah.
listen to social media more than they would listen to their own mother, because sometimes when a mother tries to speak to them, they will say she's old fashioned. Okay. So I think social media has definitely exposed our young people to a lot of bad vices, I should call it.
Yeah.
It's not censored, like Lina mentioned, to say on social media, you find all sorts of things. People posting themselves, sometimes they are not dressed, and sometimes these are public figures that are supposed to be role models to our young people. But then if they are the ones posing like that, and the young person will think it's cool to just go ahead and do that. And
Yeah.
again, when I want to talk about safe sex or protected sex, again, like one of the students mentioned, to say most of the things that are exposed on social media will never expose the bad. So they'll always make everything look so cool. They'll never talk about the benefits of protection. It's always how cool if you do this. And then we've heard certain comments from most people to say it's not good to eat a sweet when it's wrapped in a plastic. So they relate that to maybe sex. Okay.
Yeah.
So of course, sex is something we have no control over. We cannot insist. Yes, the desire is that people should only have sex when they are married. That's how we've all known. That's biblical. But the truth of the matter is that not everybody can wait until they are married. But it would definitely be good if they only indulged at an age when they are ready to accept the consequences that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one.
I think for
I
now.
mean, being a Christian myself, I I believe one must wait until the right time because this is where people get to find themselves in situations that they can't control because they rushed into things they did not understand. I mean,
Yeah.
before people get together, there's the counseling bit, there's all of that where you have seniors that sit down, be it, pastors that will tell them a whole lot of life, before they get into certain things. But now I have this question when you say some parents will try to actually teach their teenagers and talk about life and their own experiences, and somebody will say, hey, you are old school, we are the now, so whatever is going on is what everybody else is doing. What would you say to a parent who's got a teenager that has such responses because they believe their parents don't know anything about the world now? What would you advise a parent who's in that situation?
So I think firstly, it's that the foundation is very important. We
Yeah.
shouldn't wait until it's too late or until somebody starts giving you problems, and that's when you want to sit them down. By then, they would have been spoiled. So the conversations should start at a very tender age. um, you try and be open. You call a spade a spade. Nothing is a
Yeah.
taboo anymore, because once you decide to do that, then somebody else is going to play your role as a parent, and then they'll play it the bad way by misleading the child. So of
Yeah.
course, for those parents that have children that have already, for lack of a better term, I would say that have already gotten spoiled, and then they are calling their parents old school, they shouldn't give up. There are organizations like the Youth Platform, of course, that talks to young people, that engages young people in all sorts of conversations. And some of them actually change over time. But then, of course, even them as parents, they have a huge role to play, because when they keep talking to them, God willing, they will change and get better. Because, of course, once they indulge in illicit sex and then they end up having teenage pregnancies, it spoils everything about them, and the whole lot of responsibility of parenthood falls on them. So I think openness with our children is the key.
You're very right on that one, because if a parent does not have that real talk with the child, there'll always be a friend who's going to advise the wrong thing. There'll always be social media, like we're saying right now, that will always play a role in saying or making the young people think as if for them to feel like they're living life, they have to be part of certain bad behaviors at the end of the day. Madam Lena, I'm coming back to you. I don't know if we still have you. I think maybe there's a problem with connection there.
Yeah, I think it's connecting.
Okay, I'm sure she will join us in a second. So, another thing that I'm thinking about right now is seeing that I'll make reference to the video that we started with, and a lot of young people seem to have, they sound like they have solutions and answers to some of these things that most of the young people are facing. How else do you think we can utilize social media to engage and use the same young people as agents of change, agents that will come up with whatever campaigns to easily influence other young people? Obviously, there's this thing where the young people think the adults are old school. So if maybe they hear certain things from people that look like them, kind of behave like them, how else would you think of using that?
Okay, so I hope I'm allowed. I think this will give me an opportunity to brag about what we do as an organization. I think
brag
for
on.
us,
People need help out there.
Thank you. So for us, I think what has worked is using the same young people as agents of change, like you have mentioned. So we actually train what we call community-based distributors. So this is on a contraceptive project where young people have been trained to distribute contraceptives and condoms to their fellow young people. So this came up because we realized that in most health facilities, the people that work as community-based distributors are mothers or old people, retired nurses, such kind of people. So you find that when a young person goes there to seek for help, instead of them getting the help that they need, they are actually being cancelled, being told you are sinning. Why are you using contraceptives yet you are not married? Why are you having sex and whatnot? But then sex is done in private. Whether you talk to someone and tell them not to have it, if they've already made up their mind, they still will go ahead and do it. So why not help them have it protected? And of course, when we talk about contraceptives, also a condom is actually the best contraception to use because it offers dual protection from infections and also from unwanted pregnancies. So of course, that is one where we have done it as an organization, and I know other people can still do that and use the same young people. So of course, the people that we use as community-based distributors, themselves will have to be changed first and make sure that they are doing the right thing so that they are able to explain to their fellow peers. And by doing that, it will spread to everybody else, and then we'll have reduced and hopefully have no teenage pregnancies at all at some point. So I think in the areas where we are working as an organization, we've definitely seen that change. And I know the youth platform, being a sister organization, is obviously doing some work in relation to this as well. So I think that is one of the things that I can say we should do. We should work through, and also through the churches. I usually feel like the church is left out because we are scared to talk about certain things because we think it's a taboo. But then these young people that get pregnant, where do they belong? They still belong to a church somewhere.
Yeah.
So when they leave home, when they leave school, on a weekend, where do they go? They go to a church. So I think we should have a deliberate program of having church activities. This can start not by an organization, even by individuals, like ourselves at the churches where we go to. We just start up deliberate activities where young people meet up together and talk about issues that affect them. And obviously, such issues such as teenage pregnancies will come in. And I'm sure the more they talk about them, the more the others will learn, and then the numbers will reduce and possibly completely go away.
Okay. What I'm getting there definitely, especially to do with the churches and some people that will tell a young person, say, why are you sinning? Why are you doing this? Because I feel like that type of statement comes off judgmental, and you find that even when a young person faces a challenge, they will actually avoid seeking help because they feel like, what's the point of going there when I will just receive very harsh counsel and a lecture from people when they don't really know what I'm facing as a young person, because the world that they lived in is different from what we live in now, and just to come up with this question, when it comes to balancing benefits and risks, while social media can be a powerful tool, it also has drawbacks. How can we strike a balance between using social media to address teenage pregnancy while mitigating potential negative influences? What are your thoughts on that one?
Okay, so again, I'll come back to us as organizations. I think we should use our media platforms, especially maybe our Facebook pages, to share information on these different things that we do. What I've noticed again is that we as organizations may have pages on social media, but then they are rarely active. Sometimes we only post things maybe when there's World AIDS Day, when there's Youth Day, when we have a particular activity. So just encouraging all the organizations that are dealing especially with sexual reproductive health and rights to make a deliberate program of having even interactions, even such as this one, where maybe young people can listen in, can contribute, can share thoughts. Sometimes there are people that we are created differently. Some people are introverts, some are extroverts. And then there are those that are open, they can talk about things. Frankly, others cannot because they are scared that somebody from their church will notice that, oh, they mentioned something. But even if they don't contribute, they'll still read through and they'll learn something from there. So we keep pushing, and we should not give up. We should continue encouraging the young people to make sound decisions. Of course, we have certain people that come up and will give testimonies of themselves, of what they went through. We have like other people that have gotten pregnant while still in school. And of course, later on, maybe they decided to go back, meaning it's a lesson that they've learned, and they can obviously talk about it openly and help their fellow young people not to go through the same thing. Because obviously, there's no one that has ever gotten pregnant out of school and they can brag and say, oh, wow, I had a baby at a very tender age and it was exciting. There's always a story, there's always a painful story behind it. So if we have such people that can come through and testify and encourage their fellow young people, I think let's try and bring them on board so that other people can learn from them.
Okay. Madam Lena, good to have you back. You ran away. Why?
Yo, I tell you, life is hard on these streets.
Yeah.
It's wild.
In your personal capacity, DJ Lindsay, away from Lena, I'll say DJ Lindsay. I'm sure you get to interact. Lindsay, you get to interact with a lot of young people, and you've been on different platforms, different, we've been at concerts, and, we deal with a lot of young people. In your personal capacity, have you had sessions where you've sat down and actually lectured in a good way a few young people just to talk about social media and how they can use it to actually be positive and not create a distraction or be distractive to other young people and themselves? What are some of the encounters that you've had?
Well, I think I start from home. I have nephews and nieces at home, so I start with them. I talk to them about how to use the cyberspace safely. I'm not a fan of being blocked. So if you're my nephew or my niece, I want to see what you're up to. I don't like it, because if you block me, then obviously you want to be up to no good. And I'm one of those people that should be able to tell you, you shouldn't conduct yourself like this, carry yourself like that, because that is what we are lacking for a lot of young people. So I have engaged a lot of them. I'm on radio like 4 days a week. So obviously that's another platform that I have used to talk to young people en masse in their numbers. I also use my own life as an example. Like if something doesn't sit well with me and I think another person's child won't get any benefit out of it, I won't go ahead and post it. Like what Christabel talked about, people, parading themselves on social media naked, and they say it's my right. I have the right to show the parts of the body that I like, but you don't know the impact it's having on another person's child, and this child looks up to you because you are a public figure, and they think whatever you do is correct. So we also need to see the way we conduct ourselves and ask ourselves, what does this show even like 5 or 10 years into the future, because posterity will judge us. So if we are all each other's keepers, we all think of our own children to be the ones that are out there, the ones that are being called all sorts of names. They're going out with sugar daddies and they're, all those things. If you make it about you, that's how you be impactful, because then you know that it's close to home. And that's how I try to make a change from where I am, and shooting it out there. If you just say it's a problem of the world, children nowadays swanvale and things like that, then you're making it other people's problem and not your own. So I try to make it my own, because I have young people around me all the time, and I try to project the way I live onto others and hope that it has a positive impact and have a change.
Okay. That's a good one. Something that I just thought of now. Looking ahead, I know you've touched on some of those things to do with the parenting, and I asked the question earlier when you went offline for a bit. There's teenagers that feel like being told or being given advice is old school because parents don't live in a world of all of this technology. They don't just understand what it is to be cool. What words do you have for a parent who's facing that? How would you advise them to tackle that situation?
It's hard because the world is moving at a very fast pace, and social media is even making it harder. We have a lot of single parents out there. Maybe the spouse was lost in death, or maybe they divorced, and you have a man that is raising an adolescent girl child, or the other way around. And now they have all these people that they look out for on social media. What you need to do is calm down, first of all. When children are growing up, there's hormones in play and things like that, and so you need to understand that their head is in a different place than yours. But also make the child your friend. If we want to be impactful to young people, we need to get down to their level. That's something that I've seen that is quite helpful. Get down and know your child. Get down and know the kind of people they hang around with, what tickles their fancy, and just try and make time for them. I know, yes, we need the money and we're always busy trying to make ends meet, but just find time to sit with your children and understand the kind of headspace they're in. Only then can you start to attack the problems that they are facing. Only then can you start to see what they expose themselves to, even on social media. Be your child's friend. Get down to their level, because if you want to just be like authoritative and say don't do this, don't go on social media and or nzakupoka phone and things like that, they will still go and get another phone from another person or their friends, or maybe they're at school and you're not there. So you are better off knowing what they're doing and then try and find a solution together with your child than opposing them and like making it like a fight, like fighting them, I don't think most times you achieve a lot, because then they know, they're fighting me. They think that I don't know what I'm doing. And because emotions are in play, you will lose the child altogether. And we don't want that. So it helps to just be friends with your child, be friends with this teenager, understand the headspace they're in. You are coming with experience because you've been a young person before. So you have an advantage. And try and get in their headspace and see what they're up to. And then from there, you can work it out. We can't bury our heads in the sand that young people are not having sex. They are. They're having a lot of sex. And most of it is unprotected. So when you realize this as a parent, it's better to talk to your child about safe sex, like sexual reproductive health. What is out there? What do they know? First of all, you'll be shocked at what young people know. What do they know for their age? What do they know, and how can you come in and remedy that situation? So I think it's kind of helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I've had conversations with a lot of young people, and fortunately, we kind of look forever young. So sometimes you find that teenagers think you're the same age, and yeah, boy, But then you just play it cool, because that's the only way that you get to have a conversation, and then they open up to whatever it is that they're facing. If you can come down to their level and speak the language that they understand, let's get lit and all that stuff. And then so to everybody that's watching,
sorry, not to cut you short, but I heard on TikTok that there's actually a Bible that's being translated into the language of young people nowadays. I don't know if you're pro, anti that, but it's the same thing. Like, you're trying to get into their level of thinking and understand. And, like Jesus was an say, I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
I haven't come across that yet.
I'll send it.
But I think if there's a Bible that they're trying to translate and then put the slang, I think that would be risky business, because sometimes there's just things in this life that you should never ever mess with. I believe that the Bible should be left as it is, and that's why people go to school. They learn, and so that they can educate and teach. So there's situations. I'm sure Christabel can agree with me on this one. For example, when young people go to her and she's addressing all those things, when somebody's giving that counsel and they want to use the word, for example, do not dilute, do not take or remove. Leave it as it is, because that's when it has that impact. The moment you start adding your own flavor to sound like, then you create a whole lot of messes out there. So
you lose people. Yeah. You lose people.
There's a comment here from John Kakandelwa. Can we have programs to engage young people in our communities and teach them about what we are discussing? Here, we don't need any cost. Church is also the best place we can organize them. As we meet them, we can also encourage them to follow our page. I believe Christabel is in that field where, oh no, she's gone. Another comment from Lawrence Muyunda. I would say social media has an impact and is connected to teenage pregnancy in our country, Zambia. You'll find that 90% of teenagers rely on information that is found on a social media platform, which is Facebook. Mostly people will be influenced with the post that they see, because in the recent years, it has been recorded that a lot of teenagers have engaged themselves into transactional sex, mostly because they want iPhones and some other luxurious things, so they'll trade it for their bodies. Unfortunately, like I said, it's the world that we live in right now. There's unfortunate practices going on, because people will see, rather teenagers will see what the next person has. Maybe they come from a well-to-do family and they think, I want to be on that level. Maybe they hang out in certain places and they believe, wow, I'm lacking this. So they'll find that one friend who's thinking funny, and next thing they start encouraging them, you know what, let's just date A, B, C, D, and we're going to get these things. But in the process, they get pregnant, they get infected. And right now it's like the HIV rates are still crazy amongst young people as well. So, I think it's just a fight that each and every person out there should take up, because the young people will be the parents tomorrow. And if they're not groomed today, what will they pass on to the young people then, when we are long gone? Another comment from Messi Mary Nakawala: using a creative approach to spread awareness so that attention of young people is grabbed instantly. Christabel, what welcome back. You vanished again. I don't know why you two keep running. Stay here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can you share some innovative or creative examples of how social media has been utilized to address teenage pregnancy? What have you seen out there? What have you heard?
Okay. Okay, so maybe just come again with the question. I'm sorry.
Like, can you share any innovative or creative examples of how social media has been utilized to address teenage pregnancy? Like in your with your experience, what obviously your organization is doing a lot of things, but also now I'm coming to you in your personal capacity, away from the organization. Does Christabel walk? Yeah, I'm pro teenage, issues. Like in your personal capacity, what innovative things have you seen out there?
Okay, yeah, some of these careers are very difficult to separate from personal life. So
Yeah.
I think I keep doing, some of my relatives keep telling me to say, I think sometimes you should draw a line, but I think it's difficult. Like Lena said, there are times when you find a young person and then you're imagining that young person being your child, and you wouldn't want them to go through something while you are able to control them. So I have personally created friendships with a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Also, from of course it's from work, but then later it's these young people that are in school, and then maybe they complete school, then they become my friends. Actually, I call them my babies. Most of them call me Mommy Christabel. Okay, so and I guess it's the little conversations that we've had concerning their life, their behavior as a young girl. We are always accused of saying something and meaning something else. They say our body language is very deceiving. We'll be saying no, like we'll say, don't stop. You're telling someone to stop. You are saying don't, and you are saying stop at the same time. But then the man will put that together and saying, you're saying don't stop. But then those are two different things. You're saying don't, and again, you're saying stop. So I think those are the conversations that we have as me and my girls, my young girls, I call them. So I think I do that also on social media, on my personal page. When, like for example, the other day it was Condom Day. It was International Condom Day, and it's not something that has been commonly publicized, but then I was privileged to be part of it, and of course I publicly uh, went on my Facebook page, went on my WhatsApp. I think that's how I personally use my social media platforms also to communicate, because whether I like it or not, there are definitely young people that are having sex. But then my encouragement to them is that at least try and have it protected. Okay,
Yeah.
if you're going to have it, that's always my preaching. I'm definitely a Christian, and I know people judge me and say, but how does she do this? I was actually, if you had my number, you'd have seen on my status I posted a photo of my hands holding a lot of condoms, and somebody even said, but you don't even feel ashamed to do that. But why should I feel ashamed? I know I'm saving somebody's life, because you never know your day when you're going to get infected. Maybe that one day when you've decided to misbehave is your day. So the best is at least you try by all means to get the protection that you need.
Okay. So in under 1 minute, what are your closing remarks? I think we've run out of time. I've been naughty, I've gone over time, but in under 1 minute, what are your closing remarks?
Me
Well,
or Lindsay?
I've had who's going first?
You can go first.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. I've had fun being here. I hope even if it's just one young person that has gotten to tune in and listen and try and take it upon themselves to make a positive change, I am happy. We can change people's attitudes one person at a time. And so even as you are out there, interact in a positive way with your colleagues, and know that the future is yours. The future is yours to pursue. You don't need to start having sex right now. Let's have a healthy relationship with waiting. there's things that we learn in patience, in waiting. It's all going to come to you in good time, but now is not that time. When you're a teenager, enjoy being a teenager, enjoy being a child, and learn to ask questions, ask important questions. That's all I'll say for now. I've had a very nice time. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Lina. Been nice having you. Christabel?
I think I'll quote the words from my grandmother. I think one of the conversations I had with her when she was still alive was that during her time, boys were there. During my mother's time, boys were there. And she told me, even in your time, they'll be there. Even after, they will be there. But of course, there's time for everything, like Lina said. So my encouragement to young people is that they should enjoy every stage of their life. Let them not rush to become mothers before their time. It's not easy, especially being a single parent, and worse off at a tender age. It's never easy, whether you are older or you are younger, but when you are younger, it's worse because you also want to be a baby. Maybe the time when the baby wants to cry, you also want to cry because you're also a baby deep down. So the best is to wait, like Lindsay said, and then also try to be as open as possible. If you have questions, please ask the people around you. There'll obviously be someone that you can talk to. Even if your mother is a tough person, she doesn't want to talk about certain things. Young people complain about such about their parents, but find that one person that you can talk to about anything. And of course, let that person be a person that advises you on the right things, not somebody that misleads you. But again, the choice is all in our hands as young people to make the right decisions. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I just want to thank our guests for joining us. I've had a lovely moment. My brain has been opened up, and I'm pretty sure to everybody that's been watching, thank you also for those that put your comments through. If I did not read your comment, I ask for your forgiveness. This is an ongoing conversation, and it's just great that we had these two people that came through and shared their expertise. And it is important for all of us because it's a challenge to each one of us on how we use social media, what we choose to put out there, because there's always somebody that's always looking up to us. So people that have huge platforms and those that are getting online right now, understand that whatever you do, there's somebody out there looking up to you, and they will make certain decisions based on what you've done, the things that you've exposed them to. You might have understanding, but not everybody has that understanding of where you are. So please use social media positively, inspire somebody out there to be that change that will help a young person in your neighbor's house, a young person in your house. And yeah, till the next time, let's keep talking. And Tai2 signing out. Much love.
Bye.